Welcome to Sports Trebuchet. I'm Marty.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
A little rusty on the introduction there. That's my bad. Kyle was had his penis out. Follow us at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter. Visit us at sportstrebuchet.com. Email us, sportstrebuchetpod@gmail.com. Let's get this thing started. We've got a packed show, and we're going to start with Josh's Corner. Josh?
Thank you, Marty. I'm delighted to have my corner today. So, we'll get cracking nice and quick. We have a lot of stuff coming thick and fast in the next couple of weeks for football, the end of the football season, Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup. So I thought I'd put together a little prediction league for us and see who comes out on top come the end of May. And it's really going to just be a good opportunity to talk through all the big talking points at the end of the season and add a competitive twist to it. So, first things first, we'll start with the Premier League and the winners. It's a two-horse race right now. There is going to be no third challenger. It is purely down to Liverpool and Manchester City. You can see that Liverpool are in first, played 33 games, 82 points. Man City are second, played 32 games and have 80 points. So, looking at the upcoming fixtures, and generally anything you've seen of Liverpool and Man City over the last couple of months, weeks, season, thoughts?
Well, obviously, Man City kind of has the inside track because they have one more game. If they win out, if both teams win out, Man City gets the title because they'll beat them by 1 point at that point. But I'm looking at those fixtures and...
Well... And even before you even start, I'm assuming that we've all played 33 because Crystal Palace is a win. So I'm going to put Man City at 83 points already. So if there's 5 to go, Man City's up for me.
I still think that there's greater chance for Man City to lose than Liverpool.
I would agree with you.
There are two games in there that I could circle and say that they have a larger than...
And I'm assuming it's the two that come real quick in a midweek of Tottenham and Man United.
Yeah, and that last one's an away game at Man United.
Middle of the week, too. In between two games that, Tottenham at home and then they've got to go to Burnley away, which is never a nice place to go, no matter how bad they're playing.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Liverpool wins it.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Man City is how many years removed from their title? Did they win last year? Did they win? Was it 3 years ago?
They won last year.
They won it last year.
Did they? Okay, so they're trying to reach.
I was trying to remember whether it was Chelsea, but that was the
In Liverpool, it's been a minute, right? Because
Liverpool, a long time. Can't remember the last time they won the Premier League. I'm not sure they ever did win the Premier League yet.
I thought they won in the late 90s or something. I thought I saw, but I don't.
Sure. I mean, that was the time Manchester United.
You would know more than me.
It's been a long time since Liverpool won the big one, anyway.
So Cardiff City's going to be playing for their life against Liverpool.
Well, and they will lose their life at that point.
I mean, that is something that we'll be talking about in the relegation battle, right? It depends on what happens to Cardiff in their 2 games before that. Because Cardiff have to play Burnley and Brighton away before they go to Liverpool.
So there's a chance that they're more safe than they are right now as we speak.
Or more gone. They could be 11 points adrift and there's no hope at that point. That means that we'll get to that when it comes to the relegation point. But
yeah, I think Liverpool's the easy choice, if nothing else, because there's 4 away fixtures for Man City left. 3 if you count that they already played Crystal Palace and won, which I'm assuming.
So we're all going to be super aggressive and go for Liverpool as the winners coming up for the next one. Do you think there's any slip-ups in there? Cardiff away, Newcastle away.
Possibly, I would say Chelsea, but that's a home, and I'm not totally impressed with Chelsea.
Agreed.
By the time the Wolves game, will the FA Cup be over?
No, the FA Cup is on May the 18th. FA Cup final.
So there's a chance that Wolves really wants the FA Cup.
Wolves
they're not in there anymore.
Oh, it was Watford that beat them.
Yeah.
I forget that 2-0 got...
You turned it off at 88 minutes.
Yeah. Which is when Kyle turned it on. I'll lay that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Liverpool it is.
I think it's Liverpool.
All right, moving on to the other business end of the table. We have 3 prime candidates for relegation. There are arguments that teams above them may go down. Newcastle, Burnley. But Burnley play Cardiff this weekend, and I would hazard to say that if Burnley were to win that, they're safe. I think any amount of points really for Newcastle next will make them safe. So these are the three. Brighton in 16th, played 33 points. Southampton at 17th, played 32 with 33 points. And Cardiff at 18th, in the drop zone, played 32, 28 points. The two teams below them are gone. That's Fulham and Huddersfield. They are absolutely adrift. They are finished. F.
They will have a lot of fun next year in the championship.
Yes.
Brighton has so many more games to play.
Yeah, but 3 of them you can almost chalk up as losses.
Right, Spurs, Arsenal, Man City.
Yeah.
And probably Wolves away.
Wolves are fantastically inconsistent, so you don't know what you're going to get at Molineux. That's the problem with Wolves and has been all season.
Right.
They can play Burnley at home and lose 2-0 and then go to Manchester United and win 1-0 away. That's been them all year. So, you may as well flip a coin at that point for them.
Man, I really do not like those games that Cardiff has coming up.
No, Cardiff's games are horrific. Their run-in, to me, is probably the worst. Burnley away, when Burnley are fighting for their life, knowing that the win will be enough to make them safe.
Mm-hmm.
Brighton away, knowing that it's a relegation 6-pointer and could possibly make them safe with that win. Then they've got to go and play Liverpool at their own place.
Who are trying to win trying to win the league.
Yep. They've got to then play Fulham away, which is... Who knows what Fulham team's going to show up at this point.
Yeah.
If they just throw out all their youngsters because they're already going to be going down.
Sessingen's pretty young.
Right.
He's
But there's also this thing with relegated teams, and I don't know if you're familiar with it because you don't have anything like this in the US, but when... I suppose you do, right? In the NFL, when a team is absolutely categorically out of the playoffs and they can play spoiler, they tend to play better because there's no pressure on them.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the same thing happen with teams that are already relegated. They turn up and they'll beat somebody that really needs a victory because they're just playing with no pressure.
They want to drag them down to the championship with them.
Yeah, there's just no. They don't feel the same.
The championship
same
league,
stuff.
for anyone that's confused, it's the champions.
Palace at home. Palace's away record is better than their home record. So they probably would have preferred the reverse fixture. They'd probably have preferred to go to Selhurst because Palace are poor, and then away at Old Trafford to end your season.
Yeah, it's a
not
rough
nice
way to go.
And they might be fighting for 7 or up too, right? Depending on how they're playing.
Yes.
I'm going to go Cardiff.
I think Southampton are probably the least in danger, just given their fixtures.
Yeah, I think that all those are winnable.
Which is exactly why I'm picking Southampton. I think they're just going to fall apart.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they lose to Newcastle. I think they draw to Watford and they lose out.
Okay.
We're missing a game in there somewhere. There's got to be. They've played the same amount of games as Cardiff.
I think they might have played 33. Southampton has played 32. And I'm pulling it up right now, too. And they've got... Wolves is the Saturday game that you don't have.
Gotcha.
They're hosting
So it's Wolves next. At home.
So I think...
that doesn't really change it for me, though.
Wolves ride off a disappointing FA Cup loss.
Pissed off.
And they're playing at home. I think Josh just clocked out of work.
Thanks. It's not like we have listeners here.
No, it's alright, but it's great. They don't know what time we're recording. It's 8:30 p.m. I'm going...
Southampton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to go Cardiff. What about you, Josh? You going to bite the bullet and take Brighton?
Well, you know my allegiance at this point. Everybody who's listening does. These next two are the absolute crux of it. If
they both play this week, like in the next 7 days, right?
Yep. So we play Bournemouth on Saturday and we play Cardiff on the Tuesday, and it all hinges on that. Not only for us, but for Cardiff too, I think. So, I think at that point, depending on what it looks like, Cardiff can either realistically catch us or they're not going to. And that Cardiff game is going to be absolutely outrageous. There is no more pressure on a team, both teams, as that game. That is horrific. And I am going to be a bag of nerves.
We'll know
Shit in your pants.
Well, we're going to record on the 25th, and if Josh says his name very meekly, then we know how those 2 games have gone.
Because our last 4 are no nicer than any of the others.
No.
I mean, we've got Spurs away, Arsenal away, and Man City at home. We have Newcastle at home in amongst that, which is probably going to be our very last Hail Mary if we're in the shit. That's going to be our last chance. I have faith in Houghton to grind out the points we need, but I think we're probably going to stay up because Cardiff are bad, not because we're good.
Do you think that
So I think
3
Cardiff
draws
go down.
Do you think 3 draws and 4 losses get you there?
Put us on 36. It depends on if where.
Let's say you draw Cardiff, draw Bournemouth, and draw any of the other left.
So you've got to think that where are Cardiff going to get?
The rest of their points.
They would need, if we're on 36 and they would be on 29, they would need 8 points to go above us because their goal difference is significantly worse.
Or only go above Southampton, right?
Or Southampton, yeah.
They would need win at Burnley, win at Fulham. They'd need to beat Palace too because they're not beating Liverpool or Mania.
Right, so they would need to beat Burnley this weekend, they would need to beat Fulham, and they would need to beat Palace to be able to have that chance. And I'm not sure they're going to beat all 3. Especially, but Burnley is the one I think they'll lose to.
Yeah.
I think it's not out of the question to think Cardiff take 6 points, disregarding us. They could beat Palace and Fulham, which would then put them on, 34?
Yeah.
But the rest of them...
But couldn't they just easily win Palace, Burnley, Fulham, and end up at 37 points? And if Brighton are at 36 with the 3 draws.
Right, then that would be it. But that's why the Brighton-Cardiff game is so important, because there's just so much to go. But I'm going to go with Cardiff. So that's that. I think Cardiff are going to go down. Purely based on them being bad, not us good. So, on to something a little bit less depressing. Champions League. Now, the Champions League first round of the quarterfinals just happened.
Mm-hmm.
They just finished up this just Wednesday, just gone. And we're going into the second leg, and the home team is on the left, so they will be the team at home in the next round. So it'll be Juventus at home to Ajax, which is currently 1-1. Barcelona at home to Manchester United, currently 1-0 up, Barcelona. Porto at home to Liverpool, who are 2-0 down. And City at home to Spurs, with Spurs having a 1-0 lead from Son's goal late on.
And the way it's going to work is it's aggregate score, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, for this part of the prediction, I want you to predict who's going to go through from the quarterfinals and then the eventual winner of all of it.
Okay.
So, Juventus at home to Ajax. Who you got?
Juventus. I have a lot of faith in Dybala.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I'm going to go Juve too.
Excuse me, I had Ajax, and there you go.
Purely because big game Ronaldo will probably do something to seal the win.
So my thought is that Juventud Guerrero was an absolute mess, and I'm figuring it's going to run off eventually on Juventus.
So,
Like that.
Someone who doesn't know wrestling or soccer thinks that there's a player named Juventud Guerrero, and that's
And he plays for Juventus.
yeah, he just happened to
He's the owner.
automatic bid to get in.
He's a player coach.
So next up, we have Barcelona, who are hosting Manchester United at Barcelona, and Barca have a 1-0 lead.
I gotta go Barca.
Yeah, I'm going Barcelona too.
Me too. I think Solskjaer's done an incredible job at United, but not that good of a job to pin back a lead at the Bernabeu. They're not that good. else.
Well, they're still fighting for the bid to get in next year's Champions League.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like that'd be the priority for Manchester fans even.
Especially 1-0 down now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe if they'd have took a lead.
And going on
Or
the
going in even.
New camp, right? Yeah. FC Porto, plucky Porto, host Liverpool
I would love
with a 2-0 lead.
I would love to see Porto pull it out, just because that would be wonderful and super fun.
It would
not
be
going to
hilarious.
happen. Liverpool is going to get the win.
I'm not sure if Porto even scores.
Last year, I believe they both met in the quarterfinals and it ended 5-0 to Liverpool, I think, on aggregate. So, no, I probably wouldn't gamble on Porto scoring a goal either. I'm going to say Liverpool go through.
Consensus.
Final match, and this is probably going to be the most interesting one, with both the current score and what happens next. Quadruple chasing Manchester City host Tottenham, and Tottenham have a 1-0 lead. Fun fact, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City has never beaten an English team in the Champions League in any leg of football.
I think Man City wins this game 2-1, but Spurs win on away goals.
God, what a heartbreak. Give me City.
What game you got?
I'm going with City too. I think the quadruple is probably well and truly on, unfortunately. I'm hoping Liverpool are the ones that ruin it in the Premier League, because I'm not sure anyone can stop them anywhere else. So I'm going to go with City as well. And who's your eventual winner?
Liverpool.
I'm going to go
So
with
that you've got them doing the double. Both of you have them doing the double, the League and Champions League double. Yeesh.
Should have gone Ajax.
What
a disappointment. What a disappointment to everybody involved. Barcelona, City, and Liverpool all just losing out to...
So,
great.
we've got all English teams winning it. And I can't even say there's bias, because you're both American.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. FA Cup final. This is a very important one for our friend Kyle, as Watford are in the final.
Yeah.
City. Manchester City.
My heart,
And not because it's Watford, but... I mean, yeah, because it's Watford, actually.
my heart really wants to say Watford, but I'm not that dumb. Man City's gonna win that, but I'll be watching and crying.
I mean,
I think Watford scores in like the first 10 minutes and then just get battered like 3-1 the rest of the match.
I mean, if you watch the semi-final this week, like, we played the perfect game for all 90 minutes. We were just undone by a literal piece of magic.
Yeah.
Like, that you can't defend against. You can play the perfect game and still get beat by City. You've just got to hope that they don't produce that piece of magic. That's all you've got. That's all you've got. You can only game plan, play perfectly with 0 errors, and hope they don't pull something out of the bag anyway.
Yeah, at best, Watford tries to get in a shootout, and I don't think they can.
No, Watford is not built for a shootout, really.
They're built more than Brighton was, the way Brighton played. But that was because Brighton was hedging every bet that they could to hold the
I don't
line.
trust any time that Watford gets into a shootout style match. It doesn't.
Brighton came with a plan. Their plan was to play very defensively, and when they do hit them on the counter, win set pieces and hope Dunkel, Duffy or Murray can get on the end of one. And they came bloody close from a couple of set pieces. Not close enough. But I can't see City doing it as anything but big.
I don't like you got those guys, Dunker Duffy, that are really good off of set pieces. They're big dudes that can put.
Yeah.
I don't think that we have that. We got Deeney who up front who's big and physical. We'll see how that works, but that's not our bread and butter.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah, it's not gonna be great.
I feel for you.
Hey, you know what? We made it this far.
We were the ones that came before you. We're one of the bodies littered in his wake. Guardiola's point. We understand. And to add a little bit of extra spice and a room for differences, first goal scorer. Who's your choice for first goal scorer in the Man City Watford final?
Aguero!
Sterling.
Well, mine was going to be one of those two too. So,
To be fair, it's one of the only names I know on Man City, so I'm just...
mine was also going to be Sterling, and I'm going with Sterling. I think he will be the one who scores it. And
Well, I just lied. I said Watford was going to score first, and then Man City, so let me change mine.
you go with own goal, Sterling? Very specific.
It'd be really weird if Sterling scored an own goal.
Of all people, yeah.
Why is he back there?
Yeah, let me.
It's not even like you can say it was defending a
That's
set piece.
why I'm gonna change mine by going through. Let me get the Watford team up real quick and just real. I'm gonna pick the keeper to score. Delafeu, I'm gonna say is the first scorer.
How do you spell Delafeu?
DEU
LOF.
Oh yeah. I'm having a hard time.
Yep.
Alright, Sam. So, just in case there is a tiebreaker, we're going to go even more in depth. Minute of first goal scored.
9.
I'm gonna say it's like 17.
I'm going to go with 66. I'm going to say you drag it out. And then, and then get nailed just as they'll probably bring on a sub or two that will just screw you like Fernandinho did to us, and then it will all be over.
So if it happens in the 13th minute, who gets that point?
Me, because you overshot.
This isn't The Price is Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, that's exactly what would happen. You overshot it.
These rules are... You overshot it at 17.
No, it overshot you. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Kyle's right.
Thank you.
So...
Marty's
Give me 16.
So that's it. The predictions are in. We have a couple of people having Liverpool do the double. We have a couple of people having City win everything, like me. And
you don't have City winning everything. You have them losing to Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
In the Champions League.
I hope that happens.
Really.
What a mess.
And thankfully, in the relegated column, there is 0 Brighton and Hove Albion, so let's hope we at least get one.
Which means
thing
they're almost definitely going to get it now.
Let's hope we get one thing right. So...
We can all sit here going, we just didn't see it coming. We,
Thank you for discussing
listen,
football today.
pals.
Well, there's another little question on there.
I don't think we've got enough time for that.
Oh.
We'll do that at the end of the season, I think.
Okay.
They were my if I have enough time, and I don't think we do. So,
Okay, yeah, we're at 23 minutes.
So we'll call it a day there.
Okay.
And we will take a look at them more in depth at the end.
All right.
I didn't even see what the question was, so I'm excited to learn what it is. Now let's get to the finals of the sports nickname tournament.
Yes.
For those who are first-time listeners, go listen to the issue before this. We did a 32-team tournament, the most ridiculous or fun or best or strongest, however you want to judge it, sports team nickname tournament. And we had a Final Four, and it was Josh's idea for us to throw the votes to the public to see who advances to the finals, and that's what we're about to debate. So the voting, I was worried about getting a certain amount of votes, or any votes, because the podcast feed is not exactly popping. Right, we're still new. I get it. So Josh also put one of the polls on his personal one, and then I also went to Reddit, to a subreddit called Thread Games, and said blindly vote on these two outcomes. And I assigned 1 and 2 for one of the matchups, and then A and B for the other matchups. Those matchups were the Binghamton Rumble Ponies versus the Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes.
Which I will say, in advance, I feel sorry for whoever makes it to the final, because people just don't seem to care about those two teams.
They really don't. And they're going up against the winner of the KV Michelin Crappers against the Hartlepool United Monkey Hangers. Which also, if this sounds weird, go back and listen to the other episode. Early on in the tournament, we explained the origin of that name.
And it's a wonderful story.
And it's a very, very cool story. That'd be issue number 16 for anyone who can't just subtract by one. The interesting part about the Reddit votes is it was absolutely worthless because there were 8 votes for the Rumble Ponies, 8 votes for the Artichokes, 8 votes for the Monkey Hangers, 8 votes for the Crappers.
Oh, good.
Completely useless. And I made a mistake.
Reddit pumps the numbers at least.
Yeah, well, and I did 2B and 2A, and as a different kind of choices or whatever, and people doing the 2B or not to be bit was exhausting.
I was about to do that right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm surprised that it didn't win just from the amount of times you saw it.
The other Rumble Ponies and Artichokes poll that even got voted on, Artichokes won out by 1 vote. And on the Trebuchet account, at Sports Trebuchet, the Crappers won out against the Monkey Hangers by 5 votes. The Monkey Hangers won out by 2 votes in Josh's poll, 4-2. So, our finals are the KV Michelin Crappers that had 21 votes, beating out Hartlepool Monkey Hangers by 3, versus the Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes, who had a total of 11 votes.
Well, let's just shout out Hartlepool. It's the closest they'll ever come to a semi-final. We've got to have a lot of respect for the effort that they made and the sheer balls of hanging a monkey. So,
I'm putting it on trial.
And I think we can all agree that...
But at least they offered it a fair and just...
We can all agree in our hatred for the French and their chimps, frankly. So...
They are one and the same, I think.
KV Michelin Crappers, I believe, without pulling it up, was the 1 seed out of the world region.
I think so.
And the Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes might have been like a 5 seed.
Okay.
They were a lower seed for sure because they were the surprise. Because Gooey Ducks was the 1 seed that y'all just shit all over.
Horrific.
Looks like a dick.
Yeah, gooey dick.
So they're kind of the Cinderella story here. And the Crappers versus the Fighting Artichokes is, I picture the Fighting Artichokes in kind of the Avengers role here, and the Crappers is the Thanos. So really, it depends on how you guys want to vote. Who do y'all want to win, Thanos or the Avengers? Because this is our end game of the nickname tournament.
And we're deciding it right now.
We are deciding it right now. Because we know we're not going to get the votes. As soon as someone sees artichokes, they're out. They just assume it's about food. It's also a community college, which is also incredibly funny. that they thought,
now, if they win, do we send some kind of written notification to either team if they win?
I think that we need to.
I truly believe we should.
We should, and
with a trophy.
We do have a follower from that's a KV Michelin Crappers fan that saw the poll and followed the account. If they are listening,
both ways.
If they are listening, they probably understand us because everyone in Europe knows a lot of languages and it's very impressive.
The Belgians know like 4 different languages,
so they definitely understand
incredible.
us. Do they understand the concept of a fighting artichoke, though?
And I'm sure they know what an artichoke is, and that they know what fighting is. So I would assume that they'll be just fine.
Give it some arms.
It was a Dutch team, right? KV Michelin was a Dutch team. Belgian.
That's
okay,
why I said the Belgians are good.
So I'm going to look at the Belgian word for
the Belgians are good. I approve of the Belgians.
So there's not a Belgian translation for artichoke it's really given me. It just kind of keeps going to French, which they probably also understand.
They do speak both French and Dutch.
So an artichoke is an artichote. Artichote. Here, I can play it actually. You know what?
I hope you completely butchered it.
Artichaut.
Yeah.
Artichaut.
Artichoke. That was pretty cool. That was pretty close.
Okay.
I'm going with the KV Michelin Crappers. Which is only a bummer because I think I could get Scottsdale Community College to at least add us back if we won the award.
I'm going Scottsdale Community College. Fighting artichokes all the way. Give me a food that wants to beat people up.
In Dutch, it's also known as
Artichokvechten.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Bless you.
Comes down to you.
It's in French. It is known as Wait for it.
I just played it.
It's even better. You didn't put fighting.
Oh,
Combat d'artichaut. Combat d'artichaut.
Kombadashi. Really felt confident at the beginning and it lost. So do you vote for your fellow European? Or do you vote... I mean, I know you're against the EU in general. So, or do you vote for our buddy Jack in Arizona, who definitely knows somebody that attended Scottsdale Community College? Almost certainly.
In fact, he may have attended Scottsdale Community College.
Very possible.
On one hand, you have the artichokes, right? On the other hand, you have the crappers. Now, artichokes make you piss yellow, right, and smell. Am I correct?
That's
Asparagus.
It's asparagus? Well, I need to go back to the drawing board on the reasoning behind this. But the artichokes are a bit of a shit name anyway, right? But the fact they are a vegetable and they fight,
Strong.
like it is. It's like Tyson Fury on cocaine.
I
Fighting vegetable.
think I've told you this story before, and this might tilt your opinion. I had a manager that I worked for named Jamie, and he was a pretty nice guy, but he was kind of a fake tough guy.
Okay.
And he always said that his nose got messed up because he used to box when he was young. I don't know if that's true or not. But his nose had this very weird kind of dent to it, and it was a little bit crooked. And all the Mexican cooks in the back used to call him artichugo, basically calling him artichoke face. Because of his boxer-related injury of his nose. So that if that helps either context, since you've lost the piss smell, the piss smell comparison.
So I'm looking up their campuses or their respective buildings as well to see if I can be swayed by the sheer majesticness of them. And I've got to be honest with you, it's really only one winner in that debate. So here is Scottsdale Community College, and I'm sure that the residents of Scottsdale Community College and students will agree that it's pretty futuristic for a community college.
That looks fantastic.
Like, wonderful, right?
Good for them.
Like, good for them.
It looks like a museum.
It does look a bit like a museum. This, however, really just looks a lot like Bobby Roone's theme song. Glorious. That is Michelin's
City Hall?
City Hall. It's pretty badass too.
So no one lives there? That's a workplace?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe...
For anyone interested in looking at home, it's spelled Mechelen.
Well, I think that's not fair, though. We're comparing the home of the Fighting Artichokes against an entire city's best building.
Okay, so the biggest question is, do you want to crap in an old Belgian castle? Or do you want to eat artichokes in a museum-looking building in the middle of the desert?
I absolutely want to shit in a Belgian castle.
I don't trust the plumbing, so no.
I was always
I
going
don't
to
trust the plumbing.
I was always going to vote for the Crappers, so I really just dragged it out to continue.
So the Crappers have won.
The Crappers were
Sham.
Congratulations.
Just because there was clearly a more... look, the will of the people is the most important. The people's vote is the most important.
We listen to the people at Sports Trebuchet.
Wrong.
Crappers means crappers, all right, and they're the winners.
I will make a shirt.
This says crappers means crappers.
Crappers means crappers. Is it like facts or facts? Hashtag
No, it's
crappers.
associated with Brexit means Brexit. And any English listener will probably appreciate the meme slightly more.
Well, we do have a few English listeners. We also have German downloads and French downloads. Oh, we do have French downloads.
In which case,
Jesus.
they'll probably
We didn't
like
say
it
anything
too,
bad
because
did.
Britain is the laughing stock of Europe right now anyway, so they'll enjoy it.
They do, they don't. They do, they don't.
Flip-flops more than Clinton. There you go, American politician.
And you wouldn't get
Well,
it. Flip-flops more than John Kerry was of our time. There was an old presidential candidate.
I've heard of him, though.
Have you? He was
Who's the guy?
Yeah, he was a dude.
When did he run?
He ran against Bush the second term.
Was it?
Yeah, so 04.
Gotcha.
And it was... I don't remember any of his policy. I just remember him being called a flip-flopper.
But I've definitely heard of him.
John Kerry's also a very average name.
Bang average.
Bang average indeed. Congratulations, KV Mitchell and Crappers.
I'll be getting in touch.
Yeah, we'll be atting you. thank you, Kyle in Texas, for putting together this tournament. That was a lot of fun. And we'll probably look to do another tournament coming down the way. We'll just figure out what it is.
Yeah.
He might be involved. He might not be.
Hi, my name is Joshua Tracy.
And I am Corwin Heller.
And we are the hosts of a statistics and sports podcast called Juicing the Numbers.
We cover the NFL, college football, MLB, and the NHL with anything that we like to talk about in between.
If you like sports and the numbers behind it, come check out our show, Juicing the Numbers, on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at JuicingPod.
Do you want to talk about WrestleMania weekend?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, everybody who's listening that heard our episode before last, which is issue number 15, we did an entire WrestleMania preview. And we're not going to go over whether we were right or wrong because, honestly, I didn't keep score.
Yeah. We were all winners.
We're all winners because this WrestleMania weekend was fucking fantastic.
Wonderful.
So, do you want to start with NXT TakeOver just briefly? We jump into WrestleMania, and then we'll touch on a little bit of Raw and SmackDown because that wasn't
the best.
Worth mentioning.
Yeah.
But I do have a really interesting point in there that I want to bring up when we get there.
Yeah.
So, NXT TakeOver New York, there were 5 matches. I'm going to list them off. We can pick where we want to talk. Okay?
They were all fucking fantastic.
They really were.
I
So we
missed
had
the tags though.
You did. It was.
I
So,
watched like the final barely the last like.
it was really, really good, but I think everybody knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
That was the biggest difference out of all of it. So we had the War Raiders retain the NXT Tag Team titles against Ricochet and Aleister Black. Then we had the Velveteen Dream retaining the NXT North American title against Matt Riddle.
That was fucking great.
Yes, it was. Matt Riddle started working heel midway and kind of doing like the shoot fighting thing. Had y'all ever seen a Matt Riddle match before WWE?
No.
Okay,
I've seen
so-
highlights.
So I'd
A lot of them,
only ever
but
seen
not-
probably like five total matches, and that's a mix between like PWG and another indie that I saw some on it. And I already knew he was good. He's great, but the bro gimmick I never thought would work in WWE, and it's working
wonderful.
fantastic,
So well.
especially because I didn't think it was going to work until this match, especially because I didn't know where that turn was, right? Like the goofy guy, like what they tried to do with No Way Jose, where he was like fun, goofy, whatever, and then you disrupt him, and he gets super angry and he starts throwing punches, and it's like, okay, cool. There's a 2-second dimension here.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle was fan-fucking-tastic, and
And it helps when you have a great dance partner like Velveteen Dream.
that's what my next point was going to be. Was Velveteen Dream is basically the bigger Johnny Gargano. You can't have a bad match with him.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream is the future of the company.
Absolutely.
There is nobody else on NXT that is going to be as big as Dream.
And you can only hope
Right
that
now.
they view him the same way, which I think they've got to.
You've got to.
His charisma's out the...
It's part of the reason I
Out of the
think they're
building.
keeping him away from the NXT title, because that's naturally the next step is the main roster, and they want to keep him to keep NXT afloat.
Agreed.
Not
And
to mention
young,
he's
so-
really, really young, so he's got years left in his...
Right? Yeah, it's
He's like 24, 25 at this
fucking
point.
insane.
I think Triple H also appreciates the long build and does not want to risk Vince vetoing him.
Yeah,
So he's probably working on putting together such a resume that he can't deny Dream.
well, and the gimmicks,
Personally, I think that could be an idea too.
the gimmicks also taken a bunch of different angles. It's not just straight like, hey, I'm Prince,
He
but in
continues
wrestler
to evolve
form.
all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next match was the NXT UK Championship match, where Pete Dunne's incredibly long reign was ended by Walter. That's another one where I'd only ever seen Walter work maybe once.
This is the first time I've seen him work.
Yeah, I saw him as a tag team, so I didn't see a whole bunch, but his chops, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
I was impressed.
my wife made a shout that he looks like Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket,
I didn't see that.
the chubby guy that killed himself. Spoiler alert. He made Pete Dunne look incredibly human, and Pete Dunne's always sold but never looked weak until he got to like the 20th minute in that match, and Walter was just fucking incredible, man.
It was a great match.
It was really fun.
Yeah, and someone explained, I saw on Twitter, Walter's gimmick is basically he time travel from the 1950s because he's just like, he doesn't look exceptional. He just kind of looks imposing. He kind of has like the weird Euro part, but like with this weird head shape. It's kind of tough to tell. But he's number 3 now in WWE, that if I ran into him in an alley, I'd be fucking scared.
Yeah.
Number 1 and 2 being Brock and Samoa.
I'd take Brock out because I don't consider him, he's an actual fighter. I'm picturing, I mean, like, that sounds weird.
That's bad.
No, we've already seen the best way to do it is just give him a low blow.
Yeah, I can kick him in the dick. Exactly. The next match was
Do a tomato at that point.
Shayna Baszler retaining the NXT Women's Championship in a fatal 4-way with Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kairi Sane.
Probably the most unremarkable match of the night.
Yeah,
and it's no fault of theirs.
Probably
that was the product of having a very it was an exceptional pay-per-view.
Without seeing any of the Walter or Pete Dunne build, but seeing every other build, including like 3 weeks for the next match, Gargano and Cole, it had the most uninspiring build because it's kind of still Shayna and her buddies beating up people. It's not.
Well, it kind of comes down to I still just don't see anybody that I feel is going to take the title off of Shayna.
Well, and that's I think the first thing I said to either our group chat or specifically to one of y'all, but it was I was upset that Shayna won, not because she won, but because it's clear that no one's ready to take her reign, because she's main roster ready.
Yeah.
Yes.
As hell. And I don't think Bianca can carry the women's division. I think talent-wise, Kairi and Io can. I don't think people see them as that yet.
No,
not at all.
Io will get there soon.
A little bit of a jump ahead to what happened on SmackDown when Paige showed up and said she was bringing a tag team with her next week. Have you heard the rumor on who this could be?
No, but if I had to guess, it was going to either be the Japanese ladies with Kairi and Io.
That's who it is.
That's
the rumor. That's the rumor is that they're the ones that are going to come out.
That's horrifying because they're going to...
Bringing them up so soon is a lot. I'm surprised.
And it's only because we've seen how great Asuka's gotten at talking since being with the company now for 3 years. I know Kairi's getting there. I don't think Io
is anywhere
knows
near
almost anything. And that sounds silly because I also saw someone mention that like Chewbacca and R2-D2 you can't understand, but they're one of the most popular characters in Star Wars, right? So it's not like they need to talk necessarily.
And that's the other thing. Paige is going to be their manager.
That's actually...
She's going to be their mouthpiece.
Talk about a different look from the last 2 girls she brought up, though.
I mean, what's happening with them? We haven't seen them since WrestleMania either.
I have no idea.
Mandy and Sonya are both fantastic. Sonya more so, in my opinion, like especially in the ring. She is
natural,
champion ready.
Yeah,
she is so good.
She's watered down Matt Riddle at worst.
She's made leaps and bounds in this past year.
Yep, because she finally dropped the Jersey Devil gimmick, which was super stupid.
But I think the other thing with the Shayna thing that you were saying, like, they have people I think are ready to take over, they're just being put in other spots. So I think Rhea Ripley could win that strap and run the division.
Or Toni Storm.
But she ain't ready, and she's on the NXT UK.
Yeah.
And the champ on NXT UK is Toni Storm. Like, both of those could come over and realistically beat Shayna.
See, I saw rumored that Candice LeRae would potentially be one of those people to be with Paige that gets called up. It doesn't fit the mold of, like, the image of Paige being a badass, but Candice LeRae has hardly wrestled at all in NXT, and I can only imagine that either they're buying time with it, or she's just main roster ready, which I think she is.
I also saw a rumor of this shakeup maybe bringing Rhea Ripley over.
If Rhea Ripley calls
because
up.
She's a former champion.
Can we get
I'd shit my pants with happiness.
Can we get a trio of Rhea Ripley, Lacey Evans, and Charlotte Flair, and they're just like the 3 blondes that rule the world, and just fucking destroy everybody. All right, continuing.
But
go ahead, make your point.
One last thing.
I didn't mean to sound
Thinking
aggressive.
about it, no. What you just said about Rhea Ripley potentially being one of the ones at NXT that Paige calls over, she hasn't got a strap, and she's on NXT UK.
So no one's going to see it.
Paige is from the UK.
Yeah.
Like, she could go, this is my homegrown talent. These are the ones I'm picking. And she goes with her and another.
God, that'd be so.
Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah,
We'll find out next week, but
Do you think Tegan Knox is right? They're probably
She just tweeted yesterday, funnily enough, that she just, for the first time in a long time, she squatted more than her own body weight. So she is not fully ready, but she probably will be by the time for the next classic for her to knack her at third knee.
I think if she doesn't get hurt, she's probably who beats Shayna at that NXT that we watched. Because I think they keep her on that brand.
Who?
Tegan Knox. If she hadn't gotten hurt, that's where I think the end game would have been.
Could well have been, yeah.
The last match was a 38-minute, 25-second match. 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT Championship because of Tommaso's injury. And Johnny Gargano defeated Adam Cole.
What a barn burner of a match.
Loved it.
It reminded me of the old Jericho-Malenko matches when they were simply just countering each other for 15 minutes. And it was
insane. It's great.
It was a perfect match before all the run-in and gaga shit, right? And then that happened, and it just goes, fucking WWE. Leave it to them to do this fuck finish with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly hitting the upper, I don't know what they call that.
I know what you mean.
It's called like the up-down or some
finisher
shit.
Thing. The up, down, down.
Yeah, it's the upper downer.
That's definitely one of New Day's moves. So.
And then he still kicks out. And I think there's even another one. He does the shining moment of the match for me. Y'all start, actually. What was y'all's favorite part of that match?
The ending was great when he finally got the Gargano. What the hell do they call his submission?
The Gargano escape.
Yeah, gets that on him, and
not a true fan.
And sorry, and Adam Cole's reaching for the ropes, and he rolls him over, gets the tap right.
Reminiscent of the Bayley Sasha first Brooklyn.
Yeah,
big match. Josh, what about you?
For me, it was all the false finishes. I'm normally not someone who gets too invested in false finishes because they've done it to death. But they just sold it so fucking well. Yeah. Like, I believed every finish was the end. Especially when they ran in, when the Undisputed Era came in, and it was just like, oh, shit.
They gave you 5 formulas that we've all seen play out a million times, and they executed them perfectly, and then a quarter of a second he kicks out.
Yep.
And you're just, after a while, it's just like you said, you were standing up and almost hiding behind the couch because you didn't know what the fuck to do.
Like I thought the match was finished 10 minutes before it was done. Like, I just assumed that I knew the WWE formula enough, and they went back to basics and I'm even happier that they did the tap out. Like, his finisher is a submission, have him fucking tap. Yeah. And they actually did it.
And, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of the Velveteen Dream and Gargano match from the one around the Royal.
The North American.
Yeah, the one around the Rumble where they were doing false finishes, and I was actually standing up in my living room, like, super invested in false finishes.
Right. Gargano is the common equator. Common equator.
Yeah, I mean, he's my fave down in NXT. He's been for a while.
My favorite spot was probably when Gargano was fighting the 3 guys outside. Roddy, Bobby, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh, he does that crazy ass spin.
And he does basically from Iron Man 3, like a headlock spin and kick off 2 guys. And it actually looked natural and not like just
good.
Yeah.
It looked fucking great. And I made Sarah watch it. My wife. I was just like, hey, check this shit out, because I've never seen it look like this before, and not feel like, I think it was Roderick Strong was carrying him the whole way. It felt like it was weighted right. Overall,
and the scene at the end with Ciampa coming out.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was the proper full circle. It's come full circle.
And they're going to make a figure 8 at some point where they start it over again, because they've only got a few years of Ciampa left at best, I think, because of age, which is fun.
And now with his injuries.
Yeah.
Similar to Sammy and Kevin, but better told.
Right.
Because they've had so much more time.
Better told on WWE TV for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can't...
I mean, across... the course of a life, you can't make Kevin and Sammy is better because there literally has been their life. But
right, yeah, it's tough to try to make up 9 years of booking on the indies and wrestling.
Literal human growth together. Because you can't do that. But yeah, you know what I mean.
So WrestleMania 35 was excellent. I'm going to kind of do the same thing if you want to run it down and we stop where we want to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-show, Tony Nese wins the Cruiserweight Championship. Carmella wins the Women's Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Quick note, bummer that it wasn't Sarah Logan because I popped for Sarah Logan.
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder win the Raw Tag Team titles.
It's fairly significant, you know.
It's significant for Kurt, certainly.
Yeah. Finally get off the schneid of 270 losses or something.
And they haven't lost yet.
Yeah, they've won 3 matches since, right? Or including. They won on Raw, maybe just 2.
Yeah.
Either way, it's still huge.
Yeah.
And then Braun Strowman winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal by throwing Colin Jost over the ropes.
It was kind of a fart and fall down kind of.
It was, honestly, the therapy spot was really, really funny.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
But that is remarkable.
The rest of it was pretty unremarkable. The main show started, and we started off with Seth Rollins beating Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. So you can't get a first step that's better than that.
Thank fucking God.
If you're interested in listening to our other episode, we can kind of tell you now that's one of the things that was on our wish list because everyone's ready for Brock to not hold the title.
And just to go.
Yeah, just to get out. Or at least just not be holding it hostage.
Yeah.
It was...
It'd be such a focal point of everything.
Completely worthless match.
But it
did what it needed to do, right?
Totally unremarkable.
Fast and Furious. AJ Styles.
Lesnar matches.
Yeah.
Well, Lesnar has had some incredible matches.
Lesnar Bryan was real good.
Lesnar Bryan was intense.
Lesnar,
AJ Styles and Lesnar was very good.
Lesnar Balor was secretly pretty great too.
Yeah, but that was Fast and Furious. I mean, that was.
That's the way he works, unless it's
he can pull off great matches if he wants to. It's just he's so temperamental in real life as to whether he can be fucked with a feud or not. That that's why you can't have him having a belt.
It depends if he likes the guy. It's truly, I think, the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And he thinks he's good enough. That too.
It seems like he likes working with smaller guys.
And
the smaller guys sell for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows he can just sell for them and then do one move and he's done. You know what I mean? Instead of like him and Braun where they were just beating each other's ass for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was like one weak-ass
breaking faces.
F5. AJ Styles beats Randy Orton. Good, solid match. Unremarkable for relevance.
Yes, it is remarkable in another way. I don't know if you saw it all over the internet. Both Randy and AJ have issued apologies to the fans. The WWE's production lighting was so poor in that match that half the stadium didn't see anything in it.
Is that the thing where people in the back of the bowl were getting the light shine?
Not just the back. There was people who were in the second tier, like the ones up from the floor level, that had pictures posted that they couldn't see shit either, and they were almost ring level, and they couldn't see anything because these sets of lights that were just blinding them. And it wasn't like you had to squint. Like you could not see a thing for the entirety of it.
Is that why when Randy did the RKO on Tuesday that he was doing the light shining in my eyes bit?
Oh,
did
maybe.
you see that? Yeah,
no, I didn't
he
notice
did
that.
Because I saw that on Squared Circle on Reddit, and I didn't understand the bit at all.
Yeah, and if you actually go back and watch it, because I watched like little bits of it to see, because I was just bored and at the time. And they were saying like the fan reaction was so off kilter because like certain people were watching it on the screen, and like it was so weird. And you watch it back, and we had it pretty quiet, right? Because we were talking on it, just chatting away.
Yeah,
it's a bizarre atmosphere for a match.
I mean, it certainly didn't sound like it was a hot crowd for it.
Because they couldn't see it.
Yeah, makes sense.
They weren't sure what they were going to be hot for.
The Usos retained the SmackDown Tag Team titles against The Bar, Rusev and Shinsuke, and Ricochet and Aleister Black. Your normal 4. I feel like they've done that match or a variation of it in the last 4 months once a week. Well, every other week.
Every other week we've got Ricochet and Aleister Black in a 4-way or a 3-way tag match.
Yeah, and it's every week, twice a week.
Yeah.
And the one thing I like...
I've got something to say about that.
I'll always pop for the train of finishers where it's just one after another after another after another. But we were talking when we were watching it. We were all watching it together, and the 2-minute or so swing by Cesaro with Sheamus battering anybody that got on the apron was something that I went back and rewatched, and it's so fucking
It's great.
It was fun.
It's great. That was a fun spot.
It's also like that move alone Well, we'll cover it when we get to Raw.
Shout out for the Usos' white hoodies.
Oh,
They were looking
So they looked
sharp.
real good. Also, shout out to Gargano for on NXT for the Iron Man inspired stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah, he was in the end.
His end game. Yeah.
Shane McMahon defeated The Miz in a match that I missed half of because I was putting my kid to bed, but it sounded like it was just an old school hardcore match where they were just running through the crowd until they got to the spot.
It was real fun watching. It was real fun watching Mrs. Dad try to step in front of Shane.
Mrs. Dad coming into the ring was absolutely hilarious.
I saw a picture of his hands up.
Oh, Shane was trying to teach him how to hold his hands up.
Yeah, so his dad comes in to intervene on behalf of Miz. It was when he got him onto the announcer's table and was going to do his elbow off the turnbuckle bit, right? And his dad came out of the crowd and was like, no, whatever. He got off of the ropes and he got into the ring and put his fists up. And then Shane helped him out to put his fist in the right place. And then kicked him into the turnbuckle or something.
Oh, and then Shane just laid into him.
And then Miz predictably jumped into the ring, and everything from then was basically a Miz squash. Miz just ripped him apart until he lobbed him off the top of that thing.
That was
and lost.
An insane spot. Yeah. I don't look forward to an episode that's probably a few years away from right now, where we're talking about our favorite Shane McMahon memory because he's dead. From doing shit like this. He's suicidal.
We've made the joke where
I just assume he's got terminal something and he's just trying to get it all out.
His kids, most kids love Christmas, but Christmas starts the long slog towards WrestleMania where your dad throws something up.
Yeah, they know that there's after Christmas there's 4 times that Shane McMahon's going to come near death and he's laughing in the face of it every time. The Iconics defeat the Boston Hug Connection, the Divas of Doom, and Nia Jax and Tamina for the WWE Women's Tag Team.
That was a really fun moment.
It was really cool for them. I wanted them to probably win more than anybody, just from what makes sense. I hate the Sasha Bailey team, frankly, and Beth Phoenix isn't going to probably make a comeback, really.
No.
For a long
There's no
time.
reason for it to.
Nia and Tamina would have been nice, if only because it would have made me think we would have got another face win. That's what I'm thinking. But I think Iconics are viewed as heels in large, but they're like comedy heels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're, I think, not only that, but Tamina arguably shouldn't probably be in a ring for anymore.
Yeah,
it all just went wrong from her from the work. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for her in her entire career.
Numerous injuries.
It's almost like she got cursed from her father killing somebody.
Almost,
getting away with
something strange like that. But I think she probably shouldn't step foot in a ring again. I think she should just she was on the main card of WrestleMania in a title match. Take the W of having that experience and bounce. She's early 40s at this point.
Yeah,
Beth Phoenix 5 years as junior. Just go. If you want to get into training, do it. Well, I'm not sure who I'd trust you to train. That's my thing.
I'm cool with her playing an Eric Rowan type. If she's muscled, it doesn't get involved that much because she has actually a really good super kick, and that's kind of thin, right? Super kick, and if she wants to stay in the business, but her wrestling a full match or 4 minutes alone in the ring with somebody it's rough.
And she can't be muscled to Nia because
Nia's size,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation where she fits in the future. Moving on, Kofi Kingston, unfortunately, defeats Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship.
Moment of the night?
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Had the perfect formula for everything.
Yeah, they crushed it in what was, I don't think, an unremarkable match, but was exactly what it needed to be.
Yep.
They knew they didn't need to steal the show, and they didn't want to overshadow the women, I'm sure, because both of them have respect for all of them. So
Right.
I think they just they went out slowly.
They didn't need to try to steal the show because the story was so built in, the crowd was going to be insanely hot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that unfortunately for the women, they had every reason to be the hottest story coming in, but the amount of convoluted bullshit they put in there, and just how perfectly everything aligned for Kofi and Bryan,
Not to mention spot on the card.
It's just a timing.
spot on the card.
Because people were not...
They were essentially the 10 p.m. slot on Raw.
Yeah. I think it was a
And
timing.
that's perfect.
I think it was a timing thing in terms of those feuds too, because
Right.
you had one that's been going on for 6 to 8 months,
Well, yeah, one night started getting on fire at Survivor Series, and it was too soon.
and then they every week try to remind you of it going on. That was the problem. Where the Elimination Chamber was the beginning of this one, of this
By
Kofi
accident.
Mania by accident, and then they
Which
were
is
able.
crazy.
Yeah, they were able to hit every note, and it kind of got old every week. What hurdle does Kofi need to do? But it obviously paid. It
But
worked.
the fans bought in so hard, and the kids especially, and like that's a big market, especially for the New Day. Like the kids legitimately like thought he was being bullshitted. You know what I mean? Like they were pissed. Like that's the best part.
And it's also kind of the catch-22. We don't want the authority involved, but that exact story doesn't happen without an authority figure.
Yeah.
Right. It's their tale of.
So it's so frustrating because then it happens and it's like, fuck. They do have a point. They just don't need to be involved in every time there's a champion.
They don't have to be involved in every angle.
Yeah, or every face climbing or whatever it might be. Fantastic, really cool scene with the kids too in the ring.
And Xavier legit crying in the ring.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yep.
Well, and all the stuff after, did you see it was Shad Gaspard and MVP were watching it, and I had them being filmed while they were watching it. When they won, MVP started tearing up and everything.
That's awesome.
It's really, really cool.
Well,
I think he's the first.
He's the first African American to ever win.
Yeah, like 100% African American, and I think off the boat African too. I think
I don't think he is. I think his family.
Maybe
is.
his parents are.
Maybe no, and he might have been born. I think he may have been born in Ghana.
Yeah, I'll look it up. He may be Ghanaian. I know he always went as Ghanaian, but I don't know whether he was
not
born there or
always.
not. Well, yes, he was. He was born in Kumasi, Ghana.
So the first
So
African
he is
born.
like he is not African American. He's just African.
That's
Although
wild.
maybe he claims himself to be African American. What the fuck am I to say? But big moment for him. And it wasn't just that. Like it was obviously that was hugely significant, right? Because it's the first African champ. But the amount. He's just the most likable fucker in the locker room. So everybody wanted him to win regardless of that level of significance. That everybody wanted him to win because he was just a top dude.
And the fact that he's been there for 11 years grinding
and
away.
being a top dude for 11 years.
Yeah.
No one's got a bad word to say about him for 11 years. There's not many people you know like that.
I think what really benefited him too during the entire bit was the fact that he had Xavier and Big E to basically be his mic, because he didn't say a whole lot. He wasn't cutting promos every single week necessarily.
No, he came across as the humble dude that would just
that was worshipped by his two buddies.
And when he would actually say something, it was extremely powerful because
and it felt right. It felt real, right? It felt like it was from the heart.
It's real to me, damn it.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Telling Daniel Bryan that he's afraid of him, because he's you. I'm you.
Yeah, you know what ends at
the ending of the story. God, it's such a good point.
I mean, I've been wanting a New Day holding a major
Singles
title for a long time, but I always thought it was going to be Big E. I never thought it was going to be Kofi.
Yeah.
If I could have picked one personally, I would have picked Kofi because he's been around so long. But my brain was like, well, of course it'll be Big E. He's built like a truck. Yeah. He's a great worker. He's great on the mic. He's everything that WWE wants.
Yeah,
no problem with it.
And Kofi's added in for legitimacy.
Yeah, and Kofi and Xavier, that you could put the tag straps on them while he holds the big one. It's not a weird thing to do, but the magic happened. So.
And then after that, the best match of the night, Samoa Joe beat Rey Mysterio in 1 minute.
Agreed. Match.
Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre in
6 stars Meltzer.
It was in the Tokyo Dome. Roman Reigns beats Drew McIntyre in a really cut and dry, kind of boring match.
It was the classic return from cancer.
Yeah.
The
story is old as time.
See who had the wettest hair.
Yeah, it was remission impossible. I didn't think he could do it. Triple H beat Batista in a no-holds-barred match. Triple H's entrance was dumb, I thought.
With the car.
That car in particular. Batista's with his car, very cool.
Yes.
Batista's was very on brand too.
Yes.
Triple H's was weird. Like, the dude who drove it was just, like, in a t-shirt and jeans. Like, it's normally, like, they're all decked out in crazy shit, you know, and, like, all the girls, like, Charlotte and Alexa and that were, like, dressed up as that weird shit that year. And
Yeah.
Well,
it was the last time someone was on the bike and they were, like, dressed, like,
It's
all black head to toe.
It's like Triple H is a werewolf, except every WrestleMania he turns into a leather daddy. And the month and a half before that bill, the month and a half before, he slowly transitions where he's like wearing business suit. Then it's like jeans, button up, open blazer, and then it's jeans, leather jacket.
Almost like a Fortnite battle pass progression.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it turns into jeans, jean vest with leather sleeves.
Yeah. Then he changes his middle name to Harley Davidson for the month and just gets into it.
And yet he still remains Triple H.
A fun, cringy match from a moves perspective, just them doing the pliers on the hands and shit like that.
Yeah.
It was cool. It just felt pointless. That's all it felt.
Yeah.
It was Batista's last match.
That's exactly what it was.
They gave him it, and he had the story he wanted to be told to go out on his back in the way he wanted. And
to the man that he wanted to go
the
out
next
to.
day.
Yep.
Like, he retired, was it the next day or the day after? He tweeted he was done. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
I love you all. Peace out.
Cool that he had the chance to do it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it also helps, similar to Kofi, that he's always been a fucking great guy.
Yeah.
Because shitheads don't get that opportunity.
Right. So. The next match was Baron Corbin beating Kurt Angle. I've kind of forgot. Yeah, it was a 5-minute match. I think it was very quick.
Barely.
The Demon Finn Balor beat Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental title. The coolest thing for me, I was mentioning when we were watching it, was that Bobby Lashley put the Demon over completely, but he didn't let him go unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
That was
seeing
good.
him punish the Demon and then the Demon getting right back up. And then also that the Demon's almost entire moveset was not a Finn Balor moveset, which has been the thing that's lacked from that character from the get-go. Was it was like
From the minute he got called
Yeah,
up,
it was
just Finn and paint.
yeah, it was like Finn and Paint doing a sling, this whatever it's
The
called,
sling blade.
sling blade.
The sling blade.
And then finally, the last match. Got to tie my shoe, man. This thing's killing me. Sorry.
Elias versus John Cena.
Oh god, I forgot about Thugonomics. Was that between those two matches?
There was some time in there. And that was
late.
fun. That was a fun little bit getting Dr. Thugonomics out there. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Me too. And I heard there was a lot of kids that were very confused that had no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's like one of those jokes in like Toy Story that only the adults get. It was
Right.
one of those.
It was
but
it was
in
a nod.
wrestling.
It was a nod to us. Becky Lynch beat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair for both the women's Raw and SmackDown Championship titles. Fantastic match, I thought.
I thought it was a fun match. I felt like it was a little rushed. And I think that was timing. And I also think that the problem that you're having now with all of the WrestleMania main events is that everybody is completely, utterly exhausted by the end.
Yep.
I think those are hand in hand. I think if this show is this long, but it's 10 p.m. when this is going on, and it starts at the actual
Like 3?
things, or 4, then I don't think there's that issue.
Yeah.
And you have an intermission in there or something, you know?
Yeah.
I think the timing was definitely part of it.
So I felt like the crowd wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be.
I think
I agree with you.
I think part of that goes to the
Bloody
finish,
tired.
though, right?
The finish felt rushed.
I think the finish was perfect, because here's what I think. I'm happy to see not a finisher win a match.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it helps you continue that story if you want to keep it, right?
Yeah.
If Ronda does come back or keeps wrestling, then she feels like she was robbed.
Because she was.
Right.
I'm not sure the shoulder was intentional, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think the shoulder was, but I think the
I think the finish was planned. I
Yeah,
just
the
don't think
roll-up
the shoulder
finish was-
I don't think the shoulder itself was supposed to have came off.
I think it's because she hasn't been pinned ever.
And she went. She
didn't know how to take it.
It's tough to take a move you've never taken before.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I
And
mean?
they were
It's-
never going to allow it to tap because that takes it all away.
Right.
If Ronda taps to Becky in the middle of the ring, regardless of it being a triple threat, there's no comeback from that to want another match.
Although it's still weird to see her beat quote unquote clean in the center of the ring.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was
Never
a
happened.
surprise.
So, yeah.
Right?
I was surprised. I thought they were going to have if they were going to go whatever, if they weren't going to go Ronda winning it, I thought the other two would pin each other. Or
Charlotte or
Becky would tap or pin the other, or possibly even But that's what I thought would happen.
It felt very specific, not specific, intentionally sloppy, as in we all don't have our composure together because we fucking hate each other, and that's what I thought was the coolest part about the match, where it was just like,
it did look
talk
like
shit, get slapped, talk shit, get slapped, get thrown, get punched, like just left and right. Mm-hmm. The problem, like I think you said, was the time thing. Right. Yeah. If that happens in the Kofi spot, I don't think there's.
I think that the crowd is extremely hot, and it's.
But we want them to go on last. But also, we want to inspire little girls who are no fucking way going to be up at 12:15.
Yeah. Right. That's the
issue.
They need to start just being upfront with the fact that WrestleMania has 4 main events, because they do. Like Kofi, you can't say Kofi Daniel Bryan wasn't a main event. You can't say that Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, even going on first, wasn't billed in their heads as a main event, because we all had 4 matches, I think, between us going in there that would have been considered a main event. Triple H Batista.
Yep.
The 2 title matches, all 3, and the 3 title matches.
Main title matches.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could probably sub out maybe Roman Drew if you're a huge
depends on where
fan.
Depends on where you swing. Yeah. And for some people who have been huge angle marks for their whole life too, we'll look at that match with rose-tinted glasses and see it as a story more than what it actually was.
Right.
So,
all in all, best WrestleMania, top to bottom.
Combining NXT with this, it was a really, really great weekend.
We got everything we wanted.
In the last 10, 15 years, yes. Like, I'm not going to go back to like Rock Austin levels of Mania, because I just don't think it's worth. There's not the same products anymore.
No, it's not. But I think you look at one of those Manias, you find some bullshit like Black. Yeah, you find Savio Vega and the Los Pericos fighting against the biker gang.
Oh, against the DOA.
And it's just like and it's just a bunch of shitty workers.
Or Mania 17, you have the gimmick battle royal, which was fun for what it was, but it was a bunch of old dudes forearming each other.
Would be a pre-show now.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much. We got an hour and 11 here, so we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. I had a couple notes in Raw SmackDown. I'm going to start listing them. If you want to chime in at all, you can. Thought it was cool that Elias got interrupted by Undertaker. I know that Elias was excited because I think he wanted it.
Yeah. I just thought it was weird to bring him, if you're going to bring Taker to Mania weekend, to have him just come out on Raw.
People thought that he possibly was getting heat for being at StarCast that weekend.
Oh. Which is
an AEW run bit.
I also wonder if it was also a point to say that we can do
this without Taker.
Do a Mania without Taker, but we're still going to give you him because he's still a legend.
Right, and I'm cool with him being an appearance, but not an attraction.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he was. It was perfect. I thought I got totally worked by the fucking unification fight. Really genuinely thought for a little while that they were going to do it. And I was beyond excited and scared. Because I didn't know
of what's going to happen to Kofi or Seth.
Yeah. Because we just got the people we wanted, and one was going to get taken away, but at the same time, the other one was going to get both. So I was like, ugh.
So before, I want to finish on that note. Lacey Evans appears to be the new challenger for one of the belts. I'm excited for that.
I'm excited.
Way overdue with the amount of stupid walkouts she's been doing.
Yeah.
They were funny, then they got stupid, then they got funny again, and they just peaked at the right time to have a layout.
I just think they didn't have an idea, and it's great that they had the gimmick built up, that they could just, at any time they could pop it on.
Yeah, so, and I mean, the rumors were saying that she was supposed to be
a big push,
the one who faces Asuka at Mania, right?
Yeah.
And that was going to be the OG plan, but they didn't trust her enough. So they kept her on.
Either that, or they realized that Asuka wasn't going to have the belt. And
I think that was the last minute decision, because they decided that they weren't confident in having.
They ultimately thought that Lacey Evans just wasn't ready for Asuka.
Yeah, basically
nobody's ready for Asuka.
And they didn't trust anybody else to give a flying fuck about Sonya or Mandy facing.
Yeah,
because they've done it every SmackDown probably.
No one. Yeah,
bring Naomi
out 6 weeks
early. Naomi again. Lars Sullivan debuted, finally. He's got a legend killer gimmick, I think, because he beat up on Kurt Angle and then the Hardys. Here for it.
Yeah. I'm a little weirded out by. I kind of liked when it was just straight red tights. I don't think he needs to have the word
The ugly Lars?
freak. Or no, it's Lars.
Lars was on one of them. There might have had been two different pairs.
I don't think one of them said freak. I think they have both. I think it just says Lars.
Paige promises a new tag team. We already discussed that a little bit. Sami Zayn returns and cuts the most incredible promo.
That was really nice.
It was fun.
It was fantastic. And the moment where he goes, is that funny, moron? And like, are you going to tell you why, moron? And just fucking getting into it was fantastic.
It was quality.
And it was exactly what needed to be said, frankly. I'm Team Sammy in everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what's going to bring us up in that bar conversation. I know you didn't watch it live. I told you what ended up happening. And the Dean Ambrose send-off. When Bobby Lashley...
The dark match stuff?
No, I wasn't going to cover that, but that was pretty cool. I read the transcript for that one.
I read that too. I thought it was good.
Ambrose gets sent off by Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley, before the match, Leo Rush kept not wanting to speak in the microphone, not wanting to say it. And Bobby grabs it and says, "Don't worry, Dean, we'll take care of your wife for you when you're gone." Which is just, it was the most character that Bobby Lashley's ever had in his life. And
Yes,
it's perfect.
I'm glad. He needs character.
We'll end on this note, since we're at an hour 15. The screw finish for the unification match between Kofi
The bait and switch, bringing out the bar.
Yeah. I was texting Josh, because you weren't live yet, Kyle, when you were watching it. I'm happy for them to book the bar strong, because I like both those guys.
Yeah.
It was just an awful spot to do it. I thought. And I still kind of think it was an awful spot for them. That's a shitty situation for them to be in. I think they were hoping that another beach ball was going to get popped by Cesaro like it did last year. But it's clear that the Superstar Shakeup being next week, that they don't give a rat fuck about the post-Mania crowd in as much as they want them to have fun, but they're fucking over them taking over the show.
Yeah.
And I
Agreed.
am
happy about
in
it.
100% agreement, if only because the way they treated Lars on SmackDown with the "you can't wrestle" bullshit and chanting that at him, and any person or thing they don't agree with, because they do really set the tone for the year for anybody that comes back. It's really shitty.
Yeah.
And they basically, in that match, goes, "Oh, you want this, right?" And they'll bait and switch, which they do all the time anyways.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, you know what? No, fuck you. We're going to give you the bar. and it's going to be a tag team. You still know who's going to win, but it's not going to mean jack shit with no date set in sight for any kind of unification thing.
It also got heat on the bar to be more heelish, which
they
showed the next night when they came out and
They've just got to do something with them.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do it, they're both great workers. They're both great on the mic. Do something with them.
I'm here for
gonna
League of
hate
Nations point two.
We're going to hate it
I
next
thought they
week.
were teasing it when
Drew.
Like,
We're going to hate it next week when one of them's on Raw and the other one's on SmackDown.
and it also shows that they, after Mania, they don't give a fuck about the brands for that week either. Because people were just showing it wherever they wanted, whenever they wanted. And it wasn't like, oh, they're now going to be on.
And I know that bothers Kyle because he said as much.
I did.
I think for one weekend, and then two if you count Survivor Series because they're invading.
Yep.
I really like it because it's also up front with, hey, we're still in Brooklyn. We're still in Brooklyn. We're still in Brooklyn. Like, that's why this NXT guy's here now.
Yep.
Or this is why, like, SmackDown guy's on Raw because he's sticking around or whatever it might be. It does feel like it's a really easy reminder, though, how I do wish there was a fucking break. Can we take a month off?
Like a season, like an off season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
I think
if
it's long overdue. I think it's been long overdue.
Yeah, I'm. If nothing else, because now you've got so many different companies or different brands. Let them intersect over Mania, and then Raw takes off during the summer and SmackDown takes off during the fall or
I
something.
don't think there'll be any of this, unfortunately.
It's never gonna
especially
happen.
with Fox doing the deal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they're going to have to work. I think push is going to come to show eventually where they have to work out some kind of break plan for the competitors.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll ever stop being. Because they've got the longest episodic bullshit too.
Right.
And there's no fucking way Vince's ego lets that go away. He wants to make that insurpassable. Already.
It already is, I think.
But he wants to just keep nailing it on the head, like non-stop, that they are the longest running.
A great way to kind of encapsulate that is when I looked at Dina on Tuesday night and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "Actually, I'm going to go watch wrestling." She goes, "Oh my God, there's still more wrestling."
That can almost be every week.
But
yeah, if you choose to, there's enough to follow you an entire week at this point.
And of just WWE.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
SmackDown, NXT.
In this case, there's NXT, and then NXT again.
And then NXT UK.
And NXT UK, which airs on Wednesdays too, or Tuesdays?
I think. And the Cruiserweight.
God forbid if it's
205
Thursday.
Live, if you want to put that on there.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I'd love for them to be able to consolidate their rosters into the 3 brands, and then be able to give them all that stuff. Now we're fantasy booking them.
Yeah, that's right.
All in all, A+ WrestleMania.
yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
And the food was good too.
Food is alright.
Good matches.
Kyle made a really great
Rivals.
chorizo dip that I basically farted and shit poison for 24 hours afterwards.
And that's what it's there for.
Yeah, it was...
Marty made some amazing carnitas, and
Do my thing.
it's delicious.
Did my
Top
thing.
shit.
Josh made
An Icelandic thing that... How do you
an
say it?
Icelandic dessert. How did you say that again?
I didn't.
he just wrote it on the bowl. He was afraid to pronounce it. Check us out on the 25th. We'll be back. And we'll be heading into the NFL draft, so we might talk about it a little bit too.
What the fuck's the NFL?
What is the NFL? They have an off season. All right. Thank you all for listening. Follow us at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter, sportstrebuchet.com, sportstrebuchetpod@gmail.com. If you have any questions, any concerns, any I'm so used to saying that when I was in restaurants, or any suggestions for future episodes or future
We're not going to field your
topics.
concerns.
I will field all of them because I care.